Hello, everypony! Hello, hello, hello! So, this is Time Century of the Bronie Brothers, and welcome back to Danganronpa If. You know, so far, we've been through so much together. Mukuro Ikusaba is now good. Makoto Naegi was skewered, but was saved. Probably thanks to Mukuro's transfusion. And Mondo Owada just saved her. So, I think we're near the end. So, how is it gonna end, you ask? Let's find out. Because I have no idea. As Mondo shouted, he revved the motorcycle as if he was using it to punctuate his words. The ceiling-mounted turns began moving, but the two disappeared before the turns could take aim at the motorcycle. As they zoomed through the hallway, countless Monokumas chased after them, waving their claws wildly through the air. Why? Asked Mukuro. Huh? Shouted Mondo. His voice was even louder than the sound of the engine. Don't get the wrong idea. I don't trust you at all. You know, that's actually fair. He lowered his voice slightly as if he were whispering to himself. But still, I don't know why I felt like I could trust what he said. He? Inquired Mukuro. But there was no time for questions. The unit leading Monokumas chasing after... False alarm. Chasing after the motorcycle had almost caught up to them. Oh no! And then, like the enormous maw of some fearsome creature, they brandished their claws in perfect unison. At that moment, the motorcycle zoomed by a certain girl. A girl whose fighting ability surpasses that of any normal human. The strongest girl on Earth. Oh, are you talking about Sakura? Oh, right, we got someone on our side. You hear that, Junko? You're out of puppets. Woohoo! With a fighting spirit that defied comprehension, the super high school level grappler kicked off the floor. A sound even louder than the motorcycle's engine filled the room. When Mukuro looked back, she saw Sakura Ogami landing on the floor, sending the pack of Monokumas flying several meters away. Sakura? If she heard Mukuro mumble her name, Sakura didn't acknowledge it. Like a statue of a fearsome god king, she calmed her breathing and she stood there, stood before the pack of Monokumas, ready for battle. Let's get ready to rumble! Your pursuit methods seem unbecoming for one who claims to be the ultimate hacker. An overpowering aura received from her skin, and her skin shimmered as intense heat began to fill the hall. Wait. Unlike the power of Mukuro's sheer violence, this was the power of martial arts. Mukuro froze the air around her in time along with it, but Sakura was generating enough heat to boil whole space itself, and as she stood before the Monokuma. With that heat stinging her back, Mukuro looked ahead. Ifumi and Chihiro were cautiously peeking from behind the door leading to the dorm, when Asahina and Kiyotaka kept a watch from inside the building. After passing them, Mondo slowed down on the motorcycle as he reached the front of the cafeteria and turned into a complete stop. The other students looked warily at Mukuro. But among these students, Mukuro noticed two people weren't regarding her with suspicion. One was Kyoko Kirigiri, who seemed to be studying the situation. The other one was a skinny boy who was leaning against Kyoko's shoulder. Makoto! Mukuro's lips began to tremble as she sat on the back of the motorcycle. Ignoring the pain of coursing through her body, Makoto smiled at Mukuro and repeated what he had said to her earlier. I'm glad. I'm glad you're safe, Mukuro. Unfortunately, Mukuro was unable to realize her hope of filling her twin sister with despair. Instead, she had successfully planted the seeds of hope into her fellow students. Makoto had barely regained consciousness while Mukuro was fighting the horde of the Monokumas at the main entrance. When he spoke up, he did something extremely simple. He talked about his memories. Most of the students were still skeptical even after listening to Mukuro's recorded confession on Chihiro's laptop. Obviously, they were unbelievable. Again with the Danganronpa 2 of music. Anyway, obviously they were still not entirely convinced at first when Makoto woke up, but after Sakura asked him a certain question, the ambience completely changed. Then beyond the walls of the school, the world is completely destroyed. You're saying there's no one else alive? Makoto slowly sat up to answer Sakura's meek question. Don't worry. I'm sure Kenny Ichiro is safe. Kenichiro? One second. Yoo-hoo! Okay. Okay. Alright. Kenny Chiro. And Kenichiro is... Oh, it's Kenshiro. And Kenshiro is... Oh ho ho! Kenshiro is Sakura's boyfriend. That was surprising. Man, you know, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's alive. I mean, Makoto's sister, what's her name? Kamaru Naegi, is that it? Did I get it right? I mean, she survived. If so, it's possible that so did Kenshiro. I'm sure he'll still keep his promise to you. Sakura Kenshiro was the only man she couldn't defeat. A man who had promised her a rematch and made her one other promise as well. How do you know that name? How do you know about that promise? Because you told me. No. Makoto slowly corrected himself. You told all of us. Sakura was silent after hearing those words. But then she faced the other students and spoke in a loud, clear voice. I'm going to trust Makoto. Sakura? Through Asahina was shocked. Sakura continued to speak with determination. What Makoto just said is something I kept locked away inside my memories. In fact, I was planning to keep that secret until the day I died. But if I shared that secret, that means there was once a strong bond between Makoto, myself, and with my fellow students as well. Makoto continued to talk in a gentle tone. Though it couldn't have been good for his health, he continued to slowly talk about the memories that the other students no longer had. Why do you know about that story I'm planning to write? Are you a specialist user who can predict the future? You already finished that story, Hifumi. You had me help you with inking. What? Wait a sec. How do you know who I extorted money from that girl related to the Kuzuryu clan? Kuzuryu? I said Fuyuhiko Kuzuryu? The same Fuyuhiko Kuzuryu who's dating Pekoyama? Hifumi extorted money from Fuyuhiko's sister? How is that even possible? The super high school level artist extorted money from a reserve course student. That's crazy. Because you even tried to sell my... Ah, man, I missed it. Wait. I think I can get it from my phone. Okay, because you even tried to sell my organs to them. Oh! Oh. His wounds were excruciating. But even so... Makoto kept smiling and talking about their lives together. As if it was his duty to so now that he had regained his memories. As the other students listened to him, they slowly began to realize something. The vivid accounts he was providing couldn't have be explained as just passing knowledge. Clearly, some kind of bond between them all had been erased. Only Byakuya remained clinical. There's no way I would have grown closer to any of you. It's likely that you're all secretly working together. Though Byakuya was still hostile toward Makoto's recollection of their memories, for the time being, he determined that that Makoto wasn't actually a terrorist. Mukuro had bought enough time for Makoto to wake up and share his memories with the others. Even if she hadn't intended to do that, it was still a small sliver of hope that she grasped tightly. And now, as she looked at the boy who had smiled at her, Mukuro didn't know what to say. She couldn't think of anything else to say at all. The battle was over, and Mukuro was now back to being a disappointing girl. She turned away from everyone's faces and apologetically climbed on the back of the motorcycle. But Makoto saw her and slowly opened his mouth to say, "Thank you, Mukuro. You saved my life." Ah, the music! Makoto gave her words of sincere gratitude between his weak breaths. Mukuro couldn't bring herself to look at him as she mumbled to herself, "Why? Huh? If Kyoko told you, then you already know what I did, right?" After regaining his memories and learning the truth, Mukuro should have been nothing but a hated traitor to him. Why would he smile at someone like her? Mukuro kept her head down. Makoto smiled as if he was unsure how to respond to it, and said, "Well, I guess you're right. But you also saved my life many times during these past 2 years, and..." Makoto took a deep, quiet breath and smiled at Mukuro again. "You're my friend. We all spend time with each other. It would be great if you could look for a different path, not despair. And if there's any way I can help you, I will." "Do you really think I can walk another path at this point?" "I don't know what you can do, or even what I can do. but I think it's more important to look for that path instead of actually finding it. Was this intentional or a coincidence? Just before he regained his memories, Makoto had said something similar to Mukuro when she spoke to him in the nurse's office pretending to be Junko. Regardless of whether he lost his memories or regained them, those words revealed Makoto's true character. As Mukuro confirmed that to herself, Makoto blurted out something that was almost too trusting. And it's not just you. Even Junko can... But he was immediately interrupted.
Yeah.
Monokuma's face appeared on every monitor in the school, and his laughter seemed to be coming out of every speaker.
I could have kept pretending to be the super high school level hacker, but it's boring to impersonate someone who doesn't even exist. If this keeps up, I'll lose my identity and turn into Kano Okuma.
Kan Okuma? Really? Kyoko looked up at the surveillance camera and addressed Monokuma directly. You seem to give up pretty easily.
There isn't a fair any... There isn't a bear anywhere that gives up as easy as I do.
Oh wait.
There isn't a bear anywhere that gives up as easily as I do. Regardless, I'm pretty sure Chihiro has figured out the secret of my control program by now.
So just as I thought. You included that program on purpose. Kyoko realized something when Mukuro told her about Junko. There were two reasons such a hateful person who would intentionally leave an obvious clue inside the Monokuma unit. Either Junko wanted the students to learn the truth about the outside world and themselves on their own and turn their hope into despair, or she was looking forward to that clue resulting in her plan being undone, which would allow her to feel despair toward herself. Probably the second one. She was an angel of everlasting darkness, delighting in her own despair, and using it to spread despair and destruction to those around her. Why would someone like that continue to play the role of Monokuma?
Actually, I set that program for Chihiro with the discovery if he happened to be one...
Oh, they don't know that Chihiro's a he. So I'm gonna lie about it.
Discover if she happened to be one of the final 5 survivors. I feel so sad and empty that my preparation was a waste. But I'm going to think about it positively. The word retreat doesn't exist in a Monokuma's dictionary.
Nervousness begins to grip at the students as Monokuma continued to talk in his relaxing, uplifting voice.
Now then, it looks like everyone's here, including Toko, who's still tied up in her room. So let's start the heart-throbbing, exciting, special graduation exam.
Huh? The students broke out in a noisy confusion, but Monokuma ignored them and kept talking.
Don't think about it too hard. Relax, relax. Change LX to Ubert. For all I care, I still be the most adorable bear here.
Relax. Oh, Rupert! Like, hey, Rupert from Family Guy. And Stewie says, "Ha! Rupert's the best bear, not you! Suck it!" Or that's what I think he says. Byakuya visibly annoyed with Monokuma's nonsensical ramblings, shouted, "I already know it's you. No, it's you, Junko. Stop this stupid game and show yourself."
Oh my, don't you know? If you want to lure the mastermind out your heavenly hidey hole, you need to bring a worthy sacrifice. You're not worthy enough at all. Do you really think the mastermind would show herself for you pathetic hope and despair?
He roared maniacally. He then began to explain the special graduation exam. We don't have to kill, do we?
If you pass my exam, everyone will graduate. But if you fail, you'll be held back for a whole year. I'll reset your memories, give you a fresh new lease of life, and you will introduce yourselves at the start of the school year again. They say people's lives don't come with a reset button, but I'm not a people. Whatever it's soft resets or hard resets, I can do as I please.
Yasuhiro seemed confused by the other students knew what Monokuma meant by reset. He was going to force them to relive their school life once again. As Yasuhiro struggled to understand, Ishimaru pointed at the nearby monitor and shouted, "Stop this already! No matter what you do to us, we'll never commit murder! These past few days should have already made that very clear to you!"
What was that?
Jumped Monokuma.
Are you serious?
Of course, no one here would ever take another human being's life for any reason. As Ishimaru shouted, one of the other students, a pale-faced girl standing apart from the others, looked away. It was Mizuno. As she trembled, a voice popped up from behind her. "What do you think, Mizuno?" She couldn't even turn around from the sheer terror, but Mizuno knew. She knew Monokuma was standing right behind her.
Do you really think none of you would become a killer?
Monokuma leaned toward Mizuno and asked her a question only she could hear.
By the way, Mizuno, why did you go to Makoto's room when nothing strange has happened yet?
Uh-oh. She's in trouble.
Did you two have an inappropriate relationship? would your fans think if they found out you made a move on a boy by sneaking into his room? Or were you there for some other reason?
She could barely make a sound, much less a scream, as her trembling worsened. Monokuma had nothing to gain by concerning Mizuno and toying with her emotions like that. He simply wanted to see the young singer fall into despair over her true character. And for that reason, Monokuma did not relent. Hey!
Hey! What were you trying to do to your close friend, and you've known for the past 2 years?
Her determination from last night blended with the memories Makoto had recounted, and ate away at Mizuno's mind like a disease. As her mind began to rip itself apart, she fell to her knees. A clear ball flying at just under 105 miles per hour struck Monokuma in the mouth with enough force to sink into his face. The speaker in the Monokuma's mouth was immediately destroyed, and his body rolled into the wall and stopped moving. Like, ooh, did it go like this? This was Monokuma, and this is the ball. Ball, his mouth breaks speaker, then he goes rolling. Sayaka came to her senses and looked where the ball came flying from. She saw Leon breathing heavily as he stared intensely at Monokuma. Yasuhiro grabbed him and yelled,
Dude, why'd you do that, Leon? That crystal ball is really valuable.
Leon had stolen Yasuhiro's crystal ball and thrown it at Monokuma. He didn't steal it. He got it from the trash room. That Monokuma bastard was trying to take a Mizuno hostage. What was I supposed to do?
Dude, that crystal ball cost me $2 trillion. $2 trillion. They don't even print that much money anymore. Oh, come on! That's a bunch of BS! Besides, if the world is all screwed up, what the hell are you gonna need money for anyway? But if it's safe out there, I'll just join the major leagues or whatever and pay you back.
Well, I could pay you back doing something else besides baseball. As the two argued, Mizuno fell to her knees. Again? Hey! Shouted Leon, running toward her. Mizuno, are you okay? She looked at him and stared blankly. Leon. She had made up her mind, and she raised her head and said, there's something I need to confess to you later.
What? Seriously?
Mizuno was staring at Leon so intensely that he briefly forgot about the current situation. Not just you, but Makoto too, but to Makoto and the others as well. Mizuno had made up her mind to confess the sin that was weighing heavily on her heart, but Leon seemed not to hear the latter half of her remark. He ran back to the others,
clapped Hifumi and Yasuhiro on their backs and shouted, "Alright everyone, let's ace this exam or whatever and get out of here already. There's no way I'm gonna let my happy memories of this place get taken away." The Monokuma inside the monitor responded,
Fine. Now that things are finally coming to a boil, let's start the graduation exam.
Sakura, who had been outside the dormitory, suddenly appeared with some information. "The Monokumas in the hallway are acting peculiar." The students all moved to the main building to see what Sakura was talking about. There they saw 50 Monokumas standing in 2 rows along the walls of the hallway, and one standing at the very end of the hall. There was something strange on top of this Monokuma's head, and a large version of the escape button that Makoto had obtained from the Mono Machine. As each student took in the sight, an announcement rang throughout the school.
The Mii at the end of the hall has a button on top of his head. That will open the main entrance. You'll have 15 seconds to get to that button, and if you do, I'll let you have it in place of a dilemma.
The students seemed surprised by the straightforward explanation. Only Celeste remained calm. Of course she looked calm. She's a liar. And she asked Monokuma with a bored look on her face.
Of course, it is not as simple as running up and taking it, is it? Oh, how mean! But you're smarter than you look. Do I look like the kind of principal that would interfere with his students' graduation? Forget the gunfire salute. I'm going to send my recruits off with some fireworks. 100 fireworks to be exact. Enough for 20 seconds of hardcore partying.
The more prospective students immediately realized what he was talking about. The bombs installed inside each Monokuma. They would explode one after another, filling the hallway with fire as soon as the time started. After 15 seconds, the me standing at the back of the hall is going to sacrifice himself and to give you guys one final fire. By the way, this probably isn't important, but that button isn't really durable. This graduation exam this graduation exam was Monokuma's way of saying that he had no intention of letting anyone leave. It was clear that from the explosions of the students saw during the entrance exam that the halls of Hope's Peak High School would be bathed in fire. Even if someone was lucky enough to survive the explosions, the burns of their bodies alone would be enough to send them into a fatal shock. Their lungs might even completely incinerate by the scorched air before that. Even if they sacrificed one student to run through, the odds were low that they would even succeed. But there was no reason for every student to run in not once either, and a shadow of despair fell upon their faces. Nice, very nice. I almost want to take a picture so I
of those faces as a souvenir.
As Monokuma laughed from behind the monitor, Sakura stepped forward.
I'll do it. I have only seen the explosions once, but I believe I'm capable of withstanding its power.
No! Shouted Asahina. You can't. Even you couldn't handle 100 of those explosions. Sakura shook her head.
I'm the only one who even has a chance.
Suddenly, Mondo remembered the motorcycle he parked inside the dormitory and said, "Hold up! That motorcycle might be fast enough to go through those explosions. I'll do it."
Don't be hasty, urged Sakura. Even if the motorcycle is unharmed by the explosions, that doesn't mean its rider will be.
Why not you ride the bike? As Sakura and the others continued their debate, one person stepped toward the hallway lined with Monokumas. "I'll do it." "Mukuro!" "Oh!" screamed Makoto weakly. Oh my god, they made an error. Mukuro, with her back facing Makoto, turned her head to the side slightly and gave him a small nod. She knew it would come to this. She knew that why Monokuma would pose such an impossible exam. Junko is already looking forward to the next Despair game. She's going to erase everyone's memories, including mine. She just wants to torment us and fill us with despair before that happens. But Mukuro knew her sister's personality all too well. And that's why she was confident. She knew that the escape button was real. Whether Junko brought despair to others, she always made sure there was a possibility that despair would befall her instead. If the students won this gamble and made it through this horrible situation, they would finally escape to the outside world. That outcome would obviously fill Junko with immense despair. In the same way, she left a clue in Monokuma's control program. Junko could not be satisfied unless she took pains to assure her own destruction. It was this quality that made Junko Enoshima the super high school level despair. That's why Mukuro was determined to do it. She knew she was the only person who stood a chance of making that outcome possible, even if she had to risk her own life. But right now, Mukuro wanted to live more than anything. She wanted to hold on to this world, a world she had no interest in previously. She didn't even know if this hesitation she felt was disappointing or not. But she wanted to live and continue searching for a new path. A path where she could abandon her submission to despair. Where she could accept the sins of the past and continue to live. Mukuro, who was known as a war machine, found her heart beset by overwhelming fear and anxiety. Up till now, it had never occurred to her that determination was necessary to live. As if she was brushing that fear aside, she quietly said, "Thank you, Makoto." Unfortunately, those words she said to the boy who showed her
her new possibilities never reached his ears. Sakura, however, heard her and frowned, and she said, "If you're planning to sacrifice yourself as an act of penitence, I'll stop you with all my power." Though her words were firm, there was unmistakable affection hiding in them. Both girls had dedicated their lives to battle, and yet Mukuro felt a twinge of jealousy toward Sakura for posing something she lacked. Mukuro leaned toward Sakura and whispered in her ear, "What'd she say?" "What? Are you serious?" As Sakura's frown intensified, Monokuma's voice blared throughout the halls.
All right, I'm gonna start the exam now. Ready, set, go!
There was no time for questions or objections. The frontmost Monokuma exploded, sending a roaring wave of heat through the hall. But Mukuro didn't look away. She began moving, powered by resolute determination. Monokuma room. As soon as the graduation exam started, the mastermind focused her control entirely on the Monokuma holding the escape button, and completely synchronized her field of vision with it. She knew what was going to happen next. She could predict what her sister, her Mukuro, would do in this exact same situation, when she would choose to focus her superhuman skill with weaponry. And so through Monokuma's eyes, she watched the scene unfold exactly as she had predicted. A pointed metal bar burst through the explosion and heading straight for the weak point for the Monokuma holding the escape button. Specifically, it was aiming for the point where the bomb's detonation system and Monokuma's power source overlapped. It flew straight and true, as if it had been fired by a master archer. In order to bring despair to Monokuma, and by extension Junko as well, the super soldier known as Mukuro Ikusaba threw the pipe like a spear so it could attack the same weak point she had pierced in the nurse's office. As explosions filled the hallway until only fire remained visible, the spear's speed and precision as it soared to its target defied all human logic. But the mastermind knew. She knew Mukuro had used her power to fill the world with despair. Power was all that disappointed girl had. But that power was useless against Monokuma. The mastermind had predicted that Mukuro would put all her effort into throw that into that throw, and Monokuma caught the metal bars perfectly between his hands. The force of the throw knocked Monokuma back several yards, but the pointed end of the bar never pierced through his chest. Well, that was disappointing. The mastermind turned to look at a different monitor. She wanted to see the look on Mukuro's face when she realized that she failed to strike Monokuma. The despair of seeing the final Monokuma explode right before her eyes, completely obliterating the escape button. She wanted to sear this moment and of her disappointing sister's final moments, and her newfound hope sank into the dark pit of despair. On instinct, she turned her attention to the surveillance camera that had been destroyed, but instead of seeing Mukuro and the others, she only saw Sakura, who looked as if though she had finished launching an attack.
What?
She only thought it was strange for a second, but the hopelessly powerful mastermind completely understood the situation and shifted her point of view to the Monokuma. But because of that single second, Junko would feel such a pang of despair. Let me guess, she lost? 3 seconds left! Amid the smoke and flames and heat encircling the hallway, it burst through with the speed of a cannon shell. It glared at Monokuma with hot boiling eyes that betrayed the icy expression on its face, and then, sharply, swiftly, strongly, it transformed into a living weapon that cuts through everything, revealing its true form in that hallway of despair. 2 seconds left. Monokuma, who was still holding the metal bar in his hands, tried to move, but after that exact moment, the living weapon carved a path through the flames and appeared before him. Its body, which had never been wounded on any battlefield, was sustaining all manner of burns and injuries. But even so, it did not falter. The fire in its eyes never flickered once. 1 second left! The living weapon, Mukuro, slammed her knee into the back of the metal bar Monokuma was holding. The sharp tip of the metal bar pierced through Monokuma like a rail spike, in shredding the detector and its power source into pieces. Time's up! Time's almost up. The 100 explosions ceased and smoke blanketed the hallway. Mukuro had dived into Monokuma, and the pristine escape button now rested in her hand. She and the other students of Hope's Peak had passed the graduation exam. Ha! It was only a small amount of despair. Monokuma had tasted it in only 3 seconds. First floor hallway. Junko. Mukuro looked down at Monokuma. He could no longer move or self-destruct. When she spoke to him, a static-filled voice emitted from his mouth. It seemed his communication function still worked.
I never expected you to do that.
He still sounded like Monokuma. It seems his voice modulator was unharmed as well.
I must have overestimated you. I never thought you would need anybody's help on the battlefield.
When I give the signal, please launch me forward with a roundhouse kick. Mukuro whispered these words to Sakura just before the explosion started. After Mukuro threw the metal bar, she jumped in the air at the exact moment Sakura unleashed a roundhouse kick. Right when Sakura's foot made contact with her own, Mukuro used the force generated by her kick to probably propel herself at Monokuma. Using a super high school level grappler's superhuman attack like a springboard, she shot herself through the air like an artillery shell. Enduring intense heat, Charbonnel and blood-draining G-force, she stayed consciousness as she charged through the hallway, engulfed with explosions and despair. Mukuro trusted Junko. She trusted Junko to predict that she'd throw the metal bar and catch it accordingly. Then he'd tried to look at her face as despair sets in. The Junko Enoshima she knew would definitely do that. Although Mukuro hadn't predicted that her sister would try to kill her with the Gungnir spears, she had a better understanding of her actions now. As Mukuro stared Monokuma in the face, all he could do was laugh scornfully.
You put your bye even someone else's hands for a deadly battle? I don't know how I feel about that. You've always been a half-assed disappointment. I guess, and this time I'll just say I lost because I didn't see this much disappointment coming. The end.
Mukuro shook her head at Monokuma. No, you're wrong, Junko.
Huh?
If you want to talk about winning or losing, I think we lost before we even started. Mukuro's eyes shifted from the side to side, as if she was unsure of something, and she fidgeted in place as she continued to talk. No matter how much despair they felt, you didn't think they'd kill each other or the way they were before. That's why you erased their memories. They aren't like the others you forced in the past. You knew these students would never do that. That's what you believed, isn't it?
What are you talking about?
So it's okay, Junko. I'll bring back everyone's memories someday, and I'll show you everyone's happiness and their bonds. I'll show all of that to you and fill you with even more despair. Mukuro nodded after she said that, as if to cheer her sister up. After several seconds of silence, Monokuma responded.
You finally beat me this time. This one time. And that little lane speech is the best you can do. You are a disappointment. You'll never fill me with despair. It's just constant disappointment. And after
pouting like a sore loser, Monokuma continued to speak in his usual tone.
But you guys will be back. And when that time comes, I'll invite you guys to a wonderful place. I found out that this fun island, and while I was running things here.
Are you talking about Jabberwock Island? Also, am I doing the best as glitching? Because I think I am. And Monokumas' laughter filled the room before the static finally cut it out and his remains felt silent. I'll do one more laugh. No, I'm alive! He wouldn't be talking again anytime soon. The mastermind was already preparing a new despair to bring to the world and to the students of Hope's Peak High School, Junko included. In the end, the mastermind stayed in her Monokuma persona until the very end, and Junko Enoshima never showed her face again. It was as if she resented and despaired her Mukuro and had given her. That thought almost filled Mukuro with despair. But when she heard her classmates calling for her, she sealed that despair into the depths of her heart. From now on, she would seal away all her despair. Yay! Yeah. And one day, when she can't and give Junko the perfect despair, she'll unleash all the despair she stored and plunge with her sister into an abyss. I won't leave my twin sister alone. In the end, that was the first hope of the disappointing twin sister had held since she was a child. Several hours later, main entrance. Mukuro, are you really gonna go out wearing that wig? After receiving a blood transfusion of the correct blood type, Makoto was beginning to show signs of recovering. Mukuro, holding her wig to disguise herself as Junko Enoshima, nodded. If I live as Junko, I might be able to understand her better. Despite that, Mukuro's voice still sounded like her own, as if she hadn't fully decided. And I made up my mind. While I'm out there, I've decided I'll accept everyone's hatred toward me, and toward Junko. I can't die until I've destroyed all the despair that Junko has spread. Yeah, that's gonna take about, ever. So, you got a mission until the ends of the earth. The damage that the super high school level despairs inflicted upon the world could not be measured in terms of money, culture, or even human life. Several television broadcasts have already begun informing people that Junko Enoshima and Mukuro Ikusaba were the heart of super high school level despair. Among the survivors in the outside world, there are still people who hadn't been tainted by despair yet. Regardless of the fact that she released Makoto and the others to the survivors, she was nothing more than the reason the world ended. So, every one of them became Future Foundation, but Mukuro had to be in jail for a short period of time, and yeah. I doubt that the leader the vice chairman will let her live, but thanks to Chiza Yukizome and Chairman Tengen, I think she'll live. And the terrorists wearing Monokuma masks who continued to ravage the world, Mukuro was nothing more than a traitor. She was now in the hopeless a situation of being enemies with the most of humanity. But Mukuro wasn't making a big deal out of it. I'm going to try not to kill anyone who comes after me for revenge. Would it be safe? Wouldn't it be safer to just turn yourself in? Wondered Yasuhiro. Wow, that's actually the first smart thing you ever said. Well, you might just get executed instead. But you can live to be an old lady if your trial kept getting pushed back. Mukuro slowly shook her head at Yasuhiro. Laws, justice, those things no longer exist. Is it really bad out there? Maybe we should stay in here. Byakuya glared at Yasuhiro with contempt. Ignorant idiot. Just shut up. Your fate won't change whether you stay here or not. Though he was shocked to learn the Tokumi Corporation had been destroyed, Byakuya continued to remain firm and proud, even toward Mukuro. You are the rarest. You're a rare asset, continued Togami. So I will let you live, for now. Great. Her life is in his hands. Depending on your actions, I may consider forgiving your crimes after I've built a new world. Only a Togami would boast that they're capable of forgiving the crime and of ending the world. You don't need to do that. I don't plan on just surviving. After turning away from Togami, Mukuro looked at the other students. Everyone was reacting in their own way. Kyoko had a look of quiet preparation. Toko, having just changed back from Genocider show, was panicked and confused. Mukuro looked back on the 2 years she spent with them, and then turned to Makoto, who shared the same memories as her, and gave him the escape button. Makoto, you press it.
Huh? Me?
I think it's better if you press it instead of me. As she watched Makoto accept the button with some hesitation, Mukuro thought about what Monokuma had said. You guys will be back. Mukuro knew that Monokuma was telling the truth. After all, the file of the students needed to fully restore their memory remained hidden in the school. The research notes of Yasuke Masuda, the super high school level neurologist. Yasuke? Just a sec. Ah, here it is. Yasuke Matsuda. Oh, I know the guy! He was somewhere in Danganronpa 3, the end of Hope's Peak High School, or Despair arc. I saw him at a window. I remember him now. Oh. His research is the key to restoring everyone's memories. Even if the students no longer have their memories, they may be able to repair the bonds they had built amongst themselves over the past 2 years. Plus, I'm pretty sure that Future Foundation has copies. But as long as their memories remain unrestored, the mastermind could still repeat her deadly plan. Although the island mentioned earlier sounded strange, the students could not turn their backs on the despair facing them. Then let's go. Makoto remembered everything that was happening in the outside world. The boy who had chosen to remain inside the school from 2 years ago was now choosing to leave. How much did he struggle to come to that decision? But he was determined to face the despair awaiting him outside, and hid his eternal whole conflict from the others. By protecting Makoto's hope, Mukuro would bring despair to her beloved sister. But she no longer knew if the end result of her goal would lead to hope or despair. She pulled the wig over her head and hid her face with her hands. What? Was she smiling because hope was waiting for her? Or was she crying because her path would lead to despair? When she lowered her hands, her face was devoid of all emotion. Mukuro no longer knew what expression she would wear on her face. At the same time, Makoto pressed the escape button. A siren began to ring to the wall as the turns retracted into the ceiling. From beyond the heavy door, a bright light appeared. An infinite number of ifs, and all the possibilities contained therein encased the earth, accepting everything, hope, despair, and even the feeling of that disappointing girl, Mukuro Ikusaba. Oh, yes! It's just like that extra. Now it all makes sense. I was wondering how it worked, and it was right here the whole time. We beat the game. We're getting out onto Future Foundation. Freedom! Woohoo! I did it! I beat the game. I mean the story. Whoa! Oh, what a novel idea. Alright, character information. Okay. Makoto. Ishimaru. Togami. Mondo. Leon. Ifumi. Yasuhiro. Mizuno. Kyoko. Asahina. Toko. Sakura. Celestia Lunenberg. Taiko Yasuhiro. Junko Enoshima. The real one, not the fake one. Chihiro. Mukuro Ikusaba. Huh, that's it. What the? No continue? What'd I do wrong? Oh, now I get it. If I left it, I would have had to go here. Yes, I would love to save my changes. Well, that's all of it. We have finished Danganronpa If. You know, I wonder what it looks like. Load game. Alright, let's...
Danganronpa.
Well, that's all of Danganronpa If. I might be able to do the extra modes, sounds like that thing and magical money thing. And, oh, hello, my dog. You know what? Come on. Say hi to everyone. Hello. She's such a happy puppy. You are so cute. Okay. Next time I play, I might be able to do those two things. So starting with
Danganronpa.
Thrills, chills, kills!
okay, I'll start here, then go to here.
Danganronpa.
And then I'll also...
Welcome to Dangan Island!
You know, we have some actually, no, we don't have any time. And so, the next time, I'll do 3 separate videos. Because first will be the Danganronpa story mode thingy, then an island mode, then, actually, this will be the last one. Magical... Oh my... So, thank you all so much. If you like this video, like and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to tap the bell to be notified for more videos. And as always, your king will... your king will see you in the next video. Bye-bye! You know what's... You know what's hard?
Danganronpa.
Reading. I mean, I'm not illiterate. I just don't like reading. And it always gets me tongue-tied. You know? Surely that's happened to you before.